Seems like every day we hear more doom and gloom about the nation's financial crisis, but some experts say there may be some good news on the horizon. Small business owner and columnist Jean Marks from Bala Cynwyd is in our studio with Eve this morning to explain. Good morning, Eve.
Good morning, Hasiel. Good morning, Jean. Thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thanks, Eve.
We know that you're a locally and nationally recognized small business expert. Tell us a little bit about what you do and kind of what feedback you've been getting from small business owners in the community.
Well, I can tell I'm a small business owner myself. I run a 10-person company right outside of Philadelphia, and I also write columns for Forbes magazine as well as businessweek.com.
And in your free time?
Yeah, in my free time. Well, I get up early, which is why I'm here now.
Good.
And I also have a column that appears nationally in American City Business Journals, and I write books as well. And basically, I like to write for business owners. My audience, the people that read me, are business owners just like myself. And sometimes I like to just kind of share with them things that are working and things that aren't working, both in my business and to try and help other people run their own businesses.
And what have fellow business owners been saying to you recently? Have they been coming to you in utter panic?
Yeah, it's funny now when with the crisis that's going on, most of the business owners that I see are on this verge of panic because they don't really know what's coming down the road. But more of them that I come across are more confident than you might think. A lot of us we're business owners. So we're learning to be a little bit cynical. And we see what's going on Wall Street and the financial community, and a lot of times we look at ourselves and shake our heads and say, that's that for those guys, but as long as I take care of my own house, I should be fine.
Right, and let's talk about the good news. We'd like to hear some good news, Jean, so let us have it. You say there's a silver lining in the clouds, right?
There's a few silver linings.
Good.
So one big one is that get ready to have a whole new relationship with your bank. For years as a small business owner, and I can speak on my behalf and also my clients, many years of being somewhat ignored by the banking community. They're always kind of out chasing the big deal or the big transaction. So now for the first time, once all this sort of stuff shakes out a bit, I'm telling the clients that I work with and other business owners that look for a new relationship with your bank. All those small independent local banks that have been around that were kind of doing the right thing, loaning money to people that actually had assets,
right.
Doing the due diligence, and they actually had a relationship with their clients. Well, the big banks are looking at them and saying, maybe they got something right. So we're at a stage right now where, us as business owners are going to start having a good relationship with some bankers.
And I read your recent article, which is very funny, by the way. And I know another thing you say is that we'll invest a little differently now. We've kind of learned our lesson.
Yeah,
right?
I was talking to a friend of mine from college that, he also runs a small business outside of New York. And he's like, I used to have extra cash, and when I had extra cash, you couldn't resist putting it into the stock market. Well, we all know what kind of a house of cards that can be. So, another really good thing that's coming out of this is that as business owners, we start looking at whatever excess money that we might have, and we will have some excess money, and we say, why are we putting it into other people's businesses when we've got stuff to invest in ourselves? So, nowadays, rather than investing in shares of companies that might drop 30 or 40% or not even return that kind of value, we look at ourselves and say, we ought to kick it in and invest more in our own people, or invest more in some equipment, or some other type of thing that will help grow our business. Because that's something we can control. We cannot control the stock market, and we're learning that lesson right now.
Yeah, kind of changing the thinking process of business
owners. Absolutely.
Another thing you say is that as a result of all of this, prices will go up, right?
Yeah, I mean, when we say prices, I say to my clients, get ready for the opportunity to start actually charging a little bit more for your services. I'm in the consulting and technology business. That's what my company does. And I got to tell you, there's like a bunch of people out there doing work that I was competing with that really weren't so great.
Right, okay.
In a big economy, when things are busy and people are running around, I mean, there's a workaround for everybody, But bottom line is that we are in a recession right now. That's what I believe, and I think a lot of people agree. And, when you look around, when you're in a recession, the people that really don't know what they're doing, they're going to kind of fall by the wayside. And the people that are left, and I hope that I'm one of those people that knows what we're doing.
It sounds like you know what you're doing.
If we've been around for long enough, then we can say goodbye to some of those competitors that were maybe charging a lot less for some shoddy work.
Right.
And we can get back in there and do what we got to do. And I think it's going to affect the way we can price to our clients. I think clients will appreciate those that are out there that know what they're doing.
Another example of the strong will survive.
Yep, that's exactly it.
So good news, and believe it or not, there's still more good news that we haven't even gotten to. So we'll return with Jean coming up after the break. Hasiel?
Actually, you'll send it to break.
Oh, we're going to break. Okay, we'll be right back. More with Jean when we return.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I guess.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah.
Are we
You
talking
say so.
politics now? Or what?
That's just wacky. Let's keep it wacky.
Okay.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Rick. Well, now, Matt, it is time to go back to our special guest, small business owner and columnist Gene Marks, who's in the studio with Eve to tell us why he believes the financial crisis is actually good for business owners.
Well, good morning, guys. Yes, we're back with small business expert Gene Marks. And I was mentioning your very funny article, Gene. I just have to share one little bit to give people a taste. Gene says, for me, there are some good things happening. And he's not just talking about the reuniting of fish. This banking crisis is starting to give me hope. And hope is definitely a word that a lot of us are liking to hear more and more. You were mentioning some great points about why this may end up being good for small business owners. Another thing you say in the article is that bankers will pay more attention to our financial statements.
Yeah,
Now.
they definitely will. And by the way, another really good thing about I never really did understand what a subprime mortgage loan was anyway. And now that now that all these things are crashing, I can feel like I'm not so stupid.
Right,
So,
right.
There are some benefits as well. As far as doing more due diligence, I mean, bankers now you're going to find with that whole new relationship that we're having is that they are going to be looking at our books a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because again, they've gotten a little bit hosed in the past as far as ignoring some of the loans that they're giving out. And it's funny. I mean, I have a client in Pennsylvania that they have a loan with a bank, and with covenants and financial ratios that they need to maintain. And frankly, the bank's been blowing them off for a while because the bank is kind of concentrated on other things. They're the bigger deals. Well, no longer are they blowing them off, and now the bank is starting to take a look at their financials a little bit more and making sure they're in compliance with covenants and all of that. That's a good thing. Financial metrics and covenants that a bank puts into a loan, they're meant to do a good thing. They're meant to keep ourselves and keep our eye on the ball as to where we stand. And they need to know that we're in good shape, so we need to know that we're in good shape. So the very fact that a banker is going to be asking us to be in compliance with covenants or be wanting to look at our quarterly financial statements and review information with us, we should be doing that anyway.
Right.
And I think a lot of us might have been a little bit lax in our busyness over the past few years, and it's time to get down to basics. So another good thing I think that'll come out of this financial mess will be a little bit more due diligence.
Good to pay attention to all of those details. You also say that business owners will have more respect for regulation.
Yeah.
How so?
Well, you're talking to a little bit of a right of center guy here, so less government is better. But I got to admit, we have financial panics every 20 years. Everybody's comparing this to is it the same as the Depression and all of that? And it's really not. I mean, the government has definitely been involved way more than we've ever been in any kind of financial crisis. And even myself as a business owner who doesn't really have a whole lot of wanting the government in my life, I've got a little bit of grudging respect for the government and what they're doing. They're jumping in. They're trying to keep the financial system going, and they're taking action. So, I have to say, although that I would never want the government to really be that intrusive in my life, and I think a lot of other business owners that I know got a little bit more of a newfound respect of kind of mixing government involvement in business to at least making sure that if there is a panic like this or some kind of big problems, government can get involved and help things along. I don't know if typical business owners would have said that a few years ago, but not that they're not making their mistakes, and the government is certainly not perfect. But, like I said, it's been an interesting exercise to watch them be involved in this.
Good. So the action is encouraging. Another good thing.
Yeah.
And lastly, you say real estate is...
Finally,
real estate is good for small business owners,
well, yeah,
right?
what I'm saying is that, real estate prices are coming down.
Right.
I mean, the bubble has burst, and suddenly, that sort of real estate space that I might be looking for at a shopping center or a strip mall or even an industrial center that might have been out of my reach a couple of years ago, is now suddenly within my reach. Yeah. So if I've got a few bucks and I can afford to do it, and believe me, a lot of us business owners are, we've been able to manage ourselves so that we have that capability. We now are able to get some good deals. I heard on the radio the other day that like Donald Trump is like buying up half of California. So, people that know. And I think a lot of business owners right now are going to have some advantage and be able to get some good, good location, good real estate space they never could have gotten before.
Love all this good news.
There is some good news.
Just lastly, Gene, what do you say to the panicked owner, small business owner right now? What should they do?
I can tell you right now, if you know what you're doing, if you're good at what you do, you'll be fine. The people that are annoying to me are the ones that are crying in financial distress, but they were 3 years ago were popping the champagne cork. It's Business owners who know what they're doing are conservative. They watch their overhead, and they keep themselves hustling. So if you know what you're doing, you do good work, you've got good employees, and you're taking care of them, you'll be fine. You will ride this thing out. You might not make as much money as you did a couple years ago, but you'll get it back again. So like I said, keep your eye on the ball.
Great. Gene Marks, thank you for the good news. We love our good news around here. Gene Marks,
a little bit.
our local small business owner and nationally and locally known small business expert. We appreciate you being here. Thanks.
Thanks.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.